So I had a dream like a week ago. And in the dream, I was with the NTSB lady, and we were there where they took the engine out of my plane, the one that I crashed, and they were trying to get it running, and she goes, well, it's got fuel, it's got spark, but it still won't run. And I say to her in the dream, what about bad fuel? Maybe it's got bad fuel or something. And she goes, oh yeah, let's get some new fuel and try that. And then it started to run. And I don't think it ran great, if I remember, but it ran. And like, okay, well, interesting, and that was the dream. So next thing I know, I get an email from her, this was like a week ago. I get an email from her just a few days ago, telling me that they're all done with the investigation and the engine, I can go pick it up or whatever. And I said, were you able to get it to run? And she goes, yes. And if you want, I'll call you to tell you about it. So I was like, okay, And so she called me and she said, well, I'm like, well, before you tell me, let me tell you about my dream I had recently. She goes, close. Like, yeah, it's kind of some of what you said. Yeah. She goes, but the fuel wasn't bad. She goes, what would happen is, she said, you told me when you we're getting ready to dive through the opening in the clouds, you pulled the power out. And then once you let off some airspeed, you tried to push it back in and it just didn't do anything. Yeah, that's right. She goes, well, what we were able to do is run the engine at power, pull it back to idle for just a little bit, not long, not too long. And then when we push it back in, it would flood the engine, too much fuel, and it would stall the engine. But if you knew it was going to happen, you could pull it out real quick, and then it would stop it from stalling. She goes, but you'd have to know that was happening. And you had to be real quick, because once it stalled, that was it was flooded. And I go, oh wow. She goes, we were able to do this numerous times, and it did it pretty much every time. So I'm going, did you end up checking the fuel though, just out of curiosity, that I had, that I was in the wing? She goes, yeah, we did take some and tested it, and it tested okay. And I thought, okay, so it was a fuel problem, dumping fuel, but it wasn't bad fuel per se. So, whatever. So I just figured I'd give you guys an update on that.